Chazal tell us that one characteristic of Ahavas Yisrael, of the love of Ahavta l'reacha kamocha, to love Klal Yisrael, is Someach v'simchoson, to associate oneself in their simcha. When a Yid is Someach in a simcha, then the Torah demands of us to join them in their simcha, ulishtatef betzorosom, and to associate oneself in their sorrow. Ich war keinem gedacht. To take part in their joy and to take part in their sorrow. So, if we ask a question, which mitzvah is easier to practice? Is it to take part in their joy or to take part in their sorrow? To be mishtatef in their simcha, is that one which is easier, or is it easier to take part in their sorrow? Which one is easier? Of course, if we ask the question, you would answer straight away that it is much easier to partake in the joy of a fellow Yid than to partake in his sorrow. For example, to go to a chasana. To go to a chasana is to be mishtatef, to take part in the joy, in the simcha of the chosan and the kale, to be mesameach the chosan and the kale. Right? So this is a geschmack, this is a very pleasant thing to do, to be invited for a simcha, to take part in the simcha, to be mishtatef in the simcha of another Yid. But, fikert chas v'sholem, to go and partake and to be mishtatef, to associate oneself in the chas v'sholem, in the mourning of someone, to go and be menachem avelim, to go in a house of shiva, ish var keinem gedacht, or to be mevaker cholim, l'moshel. That's not pleasant to do. Well, we do it because we have to do it. But it is much harder to do that second mitzvah of mishtatef b'tzar chaveroi, to take part in the pain of his neighbor. It's a much harder mitzvah to do, although both come from one and same principle of Ahavas Yisrael, of Ahavta l'reacha kamocha, right? But if we think a bit deeper, we will realize that it is just the opposite which is true. That means to be someach b'simchas chaveroi, to associate oneself and to partake and to rejoice together with your neighbor in his simcha. This is a much harder mitzvah to do it really and in depth. It is a much harder thing to do than to be mishtatef, to take part in his sorrow. And I'll explain this, why it is like that. Of course, granted, it is true that for oneself, on an exterior basis, to go and dance at the chasana, for example, to listen to a nice music there, and to have a nice meal, this is easier to do than to go never, ich war keinem gedacht, to go to a shiva house, where there is no music there, and there is no a meal being served, there's no l'chaim being drunk, and there is no laughter and dancing and singing. So on an exterior basis, of course, more geschmack to go to chassid than to go to shiva house. But in a pnimius dike, in an interior way, to be truly part of the simcha and to rejoice honestly about the simcha of somebody, that is harder to do in pnimius than to take part in his sorrow. Why? Because to take part in the sorrow of Yemen, of somebody else, Nebuch, what should refrain me from not doing so? What should stop me from not doing so? Yisrael Rachmonim, Bnei Rachmonim, we all have Rachmones, and he breaks our hearts, truly. To see someone suffering, a Yid. Every Yid is nicht in größer Chochmeh. That's not a big madrege to have a zerbrochene heart, to be heartbroken when you see a Yid was in sorrows. When you go and visit in a hospital someone, for example, Nebuch, who can't move, and can't speak, Nebuch, there's a terrible thing. I mean, who will not take part in the sorrow of that person? There's nothing to hinder us from not taking part in this sorrow. But to go to the chasana and to really rejoice because somebody else is making chasana to his daughter, and to feel in his joy, and to take part in his joy, and to feel it's like my own private joy me, there it's much harder. Why? Because there can be jealousy. You see? In the case of the Shiva house, there is no jealousy. There is nothing to stop us from feeling sorry for that person. There is no midah. There is no midah that would oppose from taking part in the sorrow of that person. On the contrary, we're all Rachmanim, but in the case of being Someach b'simchas chaveiro be'emes, this is much harder, because there is jealousy. Although it's not, you say, whoa, it's not, who says I'm jealous? I don't say that everybody is jealous, and I don't say in every situation one is jealous, but there is the possibility of being jealous. While in the case of the Shiva house, there is no possibility of being jealous. Nobody is jealous of that. As we say, there is a proverb, which is said amongst the Baalei Musar, that a person is jealous of everything and everybody, except one thing, a onav. A humble person, nobody is jealous of. A person who is a onav, truly a onav, who is boreach min hakoved, who is always shunning all kinds of honor, and he keeps a low profile, and he's truly a onav, and he hates covet. He doesn't want to be on the foreseen, to be in the limelight. Nobody is jealous of such a person. What is there to be jealous of? You understand? But of everything else, the person can be jealous. There is a famous moshel, I don't know if it is. Yes, it is famous. Famous moshel of Rabbi Miller of Gateshead Shlita, who says about a good friend somebody who meets him in the street, and he tells him, I've got good news for you. He says, what? He says, I've won the jackpot. So, he's a good friend. Oh, he's famous. He's very happy about it. He said, are you joking or what? Do you mean it? You have won the jackpot. He said, yes. Look, this is the number. And he shows him the ticket, and this is the number. So he says, if so, he says, we must drink l'chaim. So he takes him to his house, and they drink l'chaim, and mazel tov. I'm so happy for you. And perhaps he means it. He's very happy for you. Right? Next week, he meets him in the street again. He says, you know what? I've got another bit of good news for you, that I've won a second time the jackpot. He said, come on, now this time you are pulling my leg. So he says, no, here's this number. This is newspaper, you see, you can see it. He says, oh, that's amazing, he said. I don't understand such a thing, but I'm very happy for you, nevertheless. And then, the third week, you have noticed the difference. He doesn't ask him to drink l'chaim. The third week, he meets him again in the street. He says, you know what? This time I'm sure you think I'll be crazy to tell you, but I've won a third time the jackpot. Then the other person pulls a face. He's his best friend. He's his best friend. He said, you know what? If you win a fourth time, don't bother to tell me. It's a joke of Rabbi Miller. But there is some truth in it. He explains with this that what is a simcha chitzonis, what is a joy which is on the outside, but which is not in the inside really, through and through from the depth of the heart. The simcha of a chasana, to join in the simcha of a chasana, this is with good friends. Well, everybody is ready for it. But is it through and through in the depth? Nobody can tell. Same as the first time when he won the jackpot, he invited him to drink l'chaim. So nobody can disagree with that he's his best friend and he's sameach b'simcha, and he takes part in his simcha, and he joins in his simcha. Who will say he's jealous? Who will say he's jealous? Chas v'shalom. You see, he takes him home, and they drink l'chaim together. When can you see it? You can see it when he wins a second time, and then the third time. Oh, then too much is too much. Too much, even a best friend, but there's a limit. There's a limit. When a person is too fil matzliach, then even the best friends, one is not ready to tolerate. That is how far goes the middle of kinah. Jealousy. Jealousy, we are not immune to jealousy. With nobody, even with our best friends, even with our koivim, even with our brothers and sisters, everybody, nobody is immune. Chazal say, Ba'koil Hodom is kane. A man is jealous from everybody, chutz, except mibenoi v'talmidoi, except his own son and his talmid. Why just those two exceptions? You know why? Because when it is your son who gets the covet, then everybody says, see, this is the son of so-and-so. So the covet, you get a part of the covet. What's mibenoi v'talmidoi? Or you hear your talmid is becoming famous. People say, this is the Rebbe of this talmid. Understand? But we do find a case when even with the talmid, a person can be jealous. Where do we see that? By Moshe Rabbeinu. The Medrash says in the end of the Chumash, that at the end, when Yehושע ben Nun was named the successor of Moshe Rabbeinu, So Rebbeinu Shalom called to Yehושע to speak to Yehושע instead of Moshe. Yeah? And after HaKadosh Baruch Hu had spoken to Yehושע, Moshe Rabbeinu came to Yehושע and said to him, Yehושע, my dear Yehושע, what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu speak to you? And Yehושע answered back, Moshe Rabbeinu, when Rabbeinu Shalom spoke to you, did you tell me what HaKadosh Baruch did you tell me what HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to you? So I can't tell you what HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to me. At that time the Medrash says, Moshe Rabbeinu accepted death. He said, Meo mises velo tina achas. 100 times to die is better than one time to be jealous. Then he was jealous of Yehושע. So the question is that we say that Bakol Odom Miskane Chutz Mibno V'Talmido. A man is jealous from everybody except his son and his Talmid. And here Moshe Rabbeinu was jealous of his Talmid because he said it's better to die 100 times rather than to be jealous once. Of whom do we speak about? We speak about Yehושע. How can he be jealous of Yehושע? Yehושע is his Talmid. The answer is, when is a person not jealous of his Talmid? When he's still his Talmid. But when he becomes his Rebbe, like in that case, that the Rabbeinu Shalom speaks to Yehושע, and Moshe Rabbeinu has to learn from Yehושע, what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell you? Then his Talmid becomes his Rebbe, then even then he becomes jealous, of course. And so there is a limit. We see there is how far it goes, the middle of Kina. And that's why, in depth and in truth, it is much harder to be so me'ach with the success of somebody than to be unhappy about his tzor, about his unhappiness. Although bechitzonius, as I said previously, although in actual practicing and dancing, and it's easier to answer to an invitation for a chasna than to go to a tzor. Chazal said, and that will also bring a proof to what we are saying now. Chazal say, why was Aaron zoiche to bear on his chest the choshen hamishpat? We know that Aaron HaKohen, the Kohen Gadol, used to wear amongst his begodim, his ornaments and his clothes, he used to wear the choshen mishpat, that was the breastplate, call it in English, with the 12 stones which represented the Shiftei Yisrael. Why was Aaron HaKohen zoiche to wear such a wonderful tachshit, such a wonderful ornament? Chazal say because that heart, that beautiful and good heart of Aaron HaKohen, who rejoiced when he heard that Moshe Rabbeinu, his younger brother, had been appointed to be the leader of Klal Yisrael, to be the Novi Hashem, to be the savior of Klal Yisrael, that wonderful heart deserves to carry on it the Choshen Mishpat. What is it such a wonderful thing to rejoice about the Simcha of Moshe Rabbeinu, that Aaron HaKohen, the older brother, the one who was a Navi before in Mitzrayim, and he's older than Moshe Rabbeinu, and you rejoiced when you heard that his younger brother was appointed to be the leader of Klal Yisrael. Why is it such a wonderful thing to rejoice about the Simcha of the Atzlocha of Moshe Rabbeinu? Why is it such a wonderful thing? Because it is something which is not easy at all. Someone to rejoice about the Atzlocha, about the covet of someone younger, a younger brother. We find, for example, Esav hated Yaakov all the time because he said, although we are twins, but I preceded him in the world with a few minutes. I don't know, maybe a few seconds, I don't know. But he came in the world before his younger twin. And because of that, he hated Yaakov all his life. Esav Sonele Yaakov, it stays even in their generation, it stays mamish right up to now, because Yaakov, his younger brother, was chosen by the Rebbeinu Shel Olam to be the real Bechor, to be the real chosen one, and not him who is the Bechor. So here we find, you see, it's not easy at all to rejoice and to accept the nomination of a younger brother. Or we find, for example, Achi Yosef. Yosef was the younger. I mean, he was younger than Yehuda and Shimon, Levi, and so on. And they were not ready to accept his dreams and the fact that their father preferred him to them. The same also, we find that Koirach had a time, the beginning of the Machlekes of Koirach was that why did Moshe Rabbeinu nominate Elitzophan ben Uziel, who is a younger brother of my father? Why doesn't he give preference to me? Because I come from the older brother, and Elitzophan ben Uziel is a younger brother. So we see that usually people, and for that he's ready to make a machlekes, Koirach. The same with Shaul HaMelech with David. What was the beginning of the hatred, the persecution of Shaul HaMelech against David? Was because David was a much younger person, and he was more popular. With the crowds, when the women went in the street and danced. And they said the praise for David HaMelech. They said, Iko Shaul ba'alofov v'David b'rivovoisov. Shaul has smitten 1,000 Pelishtim, but David 10,000s. So he said, to me they gave the thousands, and to him the 10,000s. And from that day on, he started hating David. And a Ruach Ra came to him. A Ruach Ra, a bad spirit, became ill, became sick. For what? Because he was jealous of David. So one should not underestimate this midah of kineh. Although it is not always obvious, it's not always, say, on the open, and no one wants to agree that he's jealous of somebody. Something which is very shame. It's a shame to agree and to. We don't want. It's one of those midas which are hidden, which we do not want to recognize or to admit that we are jealous. A bit like a gaiva also. People don't want to recognize that they are begaiva. They are oti. One of these midas, but it is there and it is very strong. Chazal said. It's a pasuk in Mishle Bemis. Toiv ayin uyevoirach. The person who has a good eye, he shall be blessed. Blessed. Toiv ayin uyevoirach. It's a pasuk in Mishle. And Chazal make a drosha about this pasuk. Al tikho yevoirach elo yevorech. Do not read in the pasuk, he shall be blessed, but read in the pasuk, he shall bless. Toiv ayin uyevorech. So we have to understand here why. Why do Chazal make this droshe? A person who has a good eye, don't read he shall be blessed, but read he shall bless. What connection? How do you understand that? And why just a person who has got a good eye? A person who has got a good eye shall be blessed. Why should he be blessed? A person who has got a good eye. I've heard that for girls or boys who want to become chasanim in Kales, there's a segula is to prepare the chuppah, to take part in the preparations for a chasana. Yeah? take part, to prepare, to put the flowers on the chuppah, whatever. This is a school to become a kaleh. That's what I heard. Did you hear such a thing? No? All right, never heard this. Right. Yes? Yeah. Oh, that's the school. Yes, you heard that. Yeah, very good. Oh, very good. See? Oh. So, we are going to explain now a bit why is it a segula to take part in the preparations of Nusas Chosun V'Kal. It is based on this pasuk. Toiv ayin u'yevoirach. A person who has a good eye, he shall be blessed. And we are going to explain this. What does it mean to have a good eye on somebody's joy? It is the opposite of bad eye, ra'ayin or ayin ro, if you want. What is a bad eye? A bad eye, like we see by Bilam. By Bilam, he had a bad eye. When he saw the Klal Yisrael so beautifully arranged with the Golim, he could not accept it. He didn't rejoice. He wasn't happy. He was jealous. Couldn't bear it. To begrudge, what we say in English, to begrudge somebody's hatzloches, somebody's success. Not to look it, not to view it with happiness and joy. It says in the Zohar, whenever you mention somebody's qualities, for example, he is very wealthy, or he has got, a sarkindele, yeah? Whenever you mention this, or whenever you see it, you should always quickly add a broche. You should always quickly give a broche that kein yirbu, they should be gesund, solai sein gesund, or tischadish. For me, as the bilig, when you see somebody wearing a new garment, you have to say tischadish. Why? Because it is a protection against you giving ainorah. Because without wanting, the person doesn't even mean it. Yeah, he sees a beautiful thing, and without even realizing it, it is a natural reaction. He gives ainorah. What is ainorah? Ainorah is, without him realizing, sometimes it's his mamash, it is in the back of the mind, it just says, but always that person always gets the money. Or always that person he's got good children. All his children. And why not me? Why me? I don't have so much money. Or why I don't have this, and why don't I have that? And without even realizing it, you don't even, many thoughts like that which pass your mind and you don't even realize that you have thought those thoughts. And that is the danger of ainorah. So to protect that person from ainorah, so one should always, when he sees, when he mentions or when he sees the hatzloch of somebody, he should always bench him. Right. So what do we see here? To bench somebody, that is an expression of tov ayin. That is to counteract the ra'ayin, the bad eye. So that's what it says. Toiv ayin, a person with a toiv ayin, hu yevoirach, al tikro yevoirach, elo yevorech. A person with a toiv ayin, he shall bless. That is the expression of his toiv ayin. We see somebody who has got a success, he has hatzloche, is doing something good, then he blesses him. He says, Kein yirbu, you should have more simches, you should have more hatzloche, and so on and so on. And now, when a person behaves in such a way, yes, then he himself gets a broche. Why? Because Yitzchak Avinu, when he gave the broche to Yaakov, he said, Va'avorcho mevorachecho, u'mekalelcho o'oich. The Rabbeinu Shalom, he speaks in the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Rabbeinu Shalom will bless those who bless you, and those who curse you, he will curse. Right? That is the broche which Yitzchak Avinu gave to Yaakov. And the Medrash Rashi brings that when Yaakov realized when Yitzchak realized that Yaakov had tricked him, because he thought it was Esav, and then he realized that Yaakov had disguised himself with the goat skins to pretend that he was Esav. When Yitzchak realized that, he wanted to curse. He wanted to curse Yaakov. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Yitzchak, don't curse him, be careful. Don't curse him, because if you curse him, you curse yourself now. Because he just said before, and those who curse you, I'll curse. So if you curse Yaakov, your son, you'll be cursed yourself. So now it's too late. So he said, Gam Boch, he said. So he should be blessed, and I confirm my brachos. So what do we see from here? That Rabbeinu Shalom says that a Yid, if you bench a Yid, yes, if you bench a Yid, you yourself become bench. The Rabbeinu Shalom blesses you. Same as for the Birkas Koyanim. V'somu shemi al bnei Yisrael, v'ani avarachem. They will bench the Klal Yisrael. Yevrechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, yorer Hashem ponovei lecha v'chonecha, Yisrael Hashem ponovei lecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And if you ask me a question, and the poor Koyanim, who will bless them? They always bless the Yidden. And who will bless the Koyanim? Hashem says, don't worry about them. I'll bless them. V'ani avarachem. I'll bless them. Why? Why does the Rabbeinu Shalom bless the Koyanim? Because that's the alter bracha which Yitzchak Avinu gave to Yaakov. I'll bless those who bless you. So therefore, toivayin, a person who yivorech, person who has got a toivayin, who is happy and who is generous about the atzloch of someone else, yeah, and he participates, like you said, to hold the poles of the chuppah. So what is it? What do they show with that? They show with that they want to help that person to get married. They don't want to hinder Chas v'Shalom. They want him to get married. It's like a bracha they give to the Chassan and Kala. And they show it lemaisi. They show it in practice. Or for the girls to prepare the tables of the Chassan. It shows they are happy, they are keen that the Kala should have a nice simcha. Toivayin, then hu yevorech. So they bench the Chassan and the Kala. They want their atzloche. And therefore, since they bench the Chassan and the Kala, I'll bless them, because so it is good for them to become also Chassan and a Kala. Verkehrt, as v'sholem, a person who is not happy, who doesn't do anything to counteract his jealousy, and he's unhappy and he's too broken, and he is depressed because someone else has got a big atzloche, and he's jealous. So Chas v'Shalom is the opposite. He doesn't want to bench him. He doesn't want to bless somebody, that person. And maybe not only doesn't get any brachas, Chas v'Shalom, he gets clothes himself. So it's a very, very dangerous business not to be a tovai. Not to be a tovai. And be'emes, when the natural reaction of a person, of a jealous person is, why should I be happy with his atzloch? He always gets the best things and I never get anything. So what do you get? What do you gain? So what do you gain to feel like that? To begrudge somebody his atzloch? What do you gain? You lose. You don't gain anything. Yes? Because if you would counteract this midah of jealousy, then you would gain. Then you would be gebenched. Toivayin or yivorech. The toivayin is gebenched. Let's now try to explain a bit deeper what lies under this midah of toivayin. Is it a midah bifnei atzmo? Is it a quality which is on its own? There's a person who is very generous, who is always in a good mood and always agrees and is happy when somebody else has got atzloche. Is it a midah like that people are born with? Or is it a midah which is based on other midas? So I want to explain this now. That be'emes, the midah of toivayin, it's a midah which is a result of three midas. The midah of toivayin is a result of three midas. What are they? The first midah is ahavas chesed. We know that amongst the midas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is rav chesed. And Chazal say we have to emulate. You have to emulate the midas of the Rebbeinu Shlomo. V'olachto bidrocho. You have to walk in the ways of the Rebbeinu Shlomo. And Chazal explain, what does it mean? We have to walk in the ways of the Rebbeinu Shlomo. It means we have to copy. We have to do the same as the behavior of the Rebbeinu Shlomo. And by the Rebbeinu Shlomo, we see that the Rav Chesed, Hashem, Kel Rachum V'Chanun, Erech HaPayim, the Rav Chesed, the Rebbeinu Shlomo is great in Chesed. As we know that the old Torah is Chesed, the beginning of the creation was Chesed, and the end of the Chumash is Chesed. Olam Chesed Yiboneh. The world is built for Chesed, on Chesed. The first brach of the Sheva brachas is Shehakol Boro Lichvoidoi. That's the first brach. Not speaking about Borei Pri HaGefer. The first bracha of the actual Sheva brachas is Shehakol Boro Lichvoidoi. There is a Rashi in Ksubas that says, what does that bracha come in here? You should have said straight away, Asher Yotzar es Odom, what? Betzalma. Asher Yotzar es Odom Betzalma, Betzelem, Demus Tav Nisoy, and so on, which refers to the creation of the Mauritian and Chava Imenu, which is the subject of Chassan and Kaleh. So why do we say Sha'akol Boro Lichvoidoi? So Rashi says that brocha has been made for the people who come at the chuppah, and they come on time. They come on time. And usually the chuppah is not on time. So they come there and they see the whole space is empty. They feel a bit like fools. And they have to wait. And they have to wait until other people come, until they start. Sometimes you have to wait a short time, and sometimes you have to wait a long time. Like today, for example, we waited a quarter of an hour, not a long time, but I was there. I was amongst the first one. I just said my shir in the SEM. So I was there already at 4:05, and I saw there were already some people there. I was not alone. I met Rav Sander, and I met a few others, Rav Daniel. So Rav Daniel told me like this. He said, it was already 8 minutes after 4:15. So he said, you know, Rab Shimon Schwab, Zichrono Livrocha, when the whole of Washington Heights, and there's a Yekisha Shul in Brooklyn, Washington Heights, right? Washington Heights, okay. So he gave two invitations for the chasnas of his children. He sent out 2 invitations with 2 different times. Well, yes, he said. One time was for the people of his shul, who are yekes. They come 4:15. It's 4:15. And one invitation he sent to all the others. So, for example, if the chuppah was at 4:15, so to the people of his shul, he sent the time, the invitation 4:15. And to the others, all the others, he said 3:15. And they came, all of them, at 4:15. He said, 4:15, everybody was there, the Yekers and the non-Yekers. Everybody was there, 4:15. So when you come there, and you're waiting, and you feel a bit sorry for yourself, or you're a big fool, like I said before. So Rashi says, this first bracha has been made especially for you. Shakol Boro Lichvodo, don't be so upset. Because the Rebbeinu Shalom, that is his midah, Rav Chesed. And when he created the world Lichvoidoi, for his honor. And for his honor means so that we should copy his honor. So that we should go in his ways. That is the purpose of the creation of the world. He created the world for Chesed. And now, my dear friend, you stay here and you're waiting for the chuppah to be done. Don't be sorry for yourself. You are going in the ways of the Rebbeinu Shalom, so you want to comfort the people who have been gathering at the chuppah, so the first bracha, they deserve it. Not the chosan and the kala. They deserve the first bracha. She'akol bo, so Rashi says, Ikshubis Dafyud Zayin, in the sugya of Sheva brachas. She'akol bo, that is for the people who are gathering there too. So if it happens to you, you shouldn't be worried to be amongst the first, because you receive the biggest cha. Because if everybody would say, I don't want to be the first, so the people would never be. Nobody wants to be the first. That's why the Chazal instituted this bracha. So the first midah of Toivayim is chesed. When a person is Rav Chesed, he wants everybody to give. He wants to give to others. Koyach HaNesina of Dessler says, this urge to give, it feels good when you give. When you take, you don't feel so good. The pleasure to give, not the pleasure to get. Take. So this is Chesed. Havas Chesed. Havas Chesed, that is the first midah for which a person can be Toivayim. The second midah to be a Toivayim is Anove, humility. And the Mishnah Yeshurim explains humility, what makes the difference between humility and haughtiness, arrogance, is that humility, you feel truly that you are so insignificant that you don't deserve anything in life. You don't deserve money, you don't deserve praise, kavod, gomisht. What do I deserve? The little bit I have, it's much more than what I deserve. This is Anov. Anov is happy, and he feels mamish. He feels that what he has is much more than he expects, always. So the anivis of a person will enable him to really rejoice in the simcha of someone else, because he says, he deserves it, I don't deserve it. What am I need to claim that hatzlocha for myself? That why should he have it and not me? But he's much greater than I. So he deserves this kavod. He deserves that hatzlocha, of course. I don't deserve any kavod, any praise, any hatzlocha, any success. If the Rebbeinu Shalom wants me to be matzliach, it's his kindness, but I can't claim for it. The third midah is emunah. When a person realizes, Akol b'di shomayim ve'oisher ve'akoved milponecha, the kavod that person got is decided by the Rebbeinu Shalom, because the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted him to have that kavod. Mi yishofel u'mi yorom, that's in the Sanet Toikev, is already decided at Rosh Hashanah. So how am I going to begrudge his kavod when it is the will of the Rebbeinu Shalom? I'm going to deny that kavod to that person when the Rebbeinu Shalom decided that person should have that kavod. So why? I'm going to criticize the Rebbeinu Shalom and to rebel against his decision? So emunah, that is the third midah. Those three midahs which we have to develop, which we have to work on in order to come to become a Toivayim.